10 different misdemeanors. And in his life, he spent 13 years in the state prison system. 13 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. Most recently, he did 11 years, and he was released on October 27th of 2020. So he hasn't even been out of jail a year. He's back involved in criminal activity. He's sticking a gun in a woman's head. He's got a violation of probation for escape from law enforcement custody. And in 2008, he was arrested for attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. So after his encounter last night with Pinellas Park, he ended up here at the Comfort Inn. And again, there was probable cause for his arrest. Pinellas Park and the Sheriff's Office tried to make contact with him. He communicated with us briefly, indicated he was not coming out. We had information that he was armed with a handgun and he was in a room on the 4th floor on the west side of the hotel. So during the late night, early morning hours, because of fatigue, Pinellas Park had activated their SWAT team. The Sheriff's Office SWAT team relieved the Pinellas Park SWAT team, so it was a joint operation between us and Pinellas Park. And in the last few hours, we were able to walk through a number of options, trying to get him out. Our goal is to do this in the most safe way possible with no harm to anybody, including him. So it is amazing that we deployed over 50 rounds of tear gas, CS and OC gas, into that room over a several-hour period, and it didn't affect him at all. We broke out the window on the west side of the hotel, tried to make contact with him through that, and we weren't getting any response. So we continued to try and communicate with him. He shut off all communications, shut off cell phones, wouldn't answer the phone, wouldn't answer text messages, not able to communicate. So what we were all told earlier that you might hear a small explosion, and that small explosion was the Sheriff's Office explosive breaching team breaching the door with explosives because he had barricaded the door. He had barricaded it with furniture, he had barricaded it with coolers, he had barricaded it with another door, so we couldn't get in there. So once we were able to breach the door with the explosives, we were able to put a drone inside, we were able to see where he was, and he was in the room, hunkered down, wrapped multiple times in sheets, laying on the bed. At that point, he was giving commands. He didn't comply with the commands. The Sheriff's Office SWAT team deployed what we call less lethal rounds of beanbag rounds, shot him with the beanbag rounds, and at that point they were able to take him into custody. So he is uninjured. He is in custody. We're going to turn the investigation over to the Pinellas Park Police Department for the criminal charges, and now I'll turn it over to Chief Hayworth to kind of fill in from where this began last night.
So last night about 8 o'clock, one of our officers did an investigation on a stolen tag. They were able to make contact with our subject there. He gave us his identification along with another female that was with him. And our officer began the investigation. So about 5 minutes into it, our suspect headed for the car, got behind the wheel of the car. Our officer went to the passenger side of the vehicle and attempted to make him stop. He gave him commands. He drew his taser. He deployed the taser twice on him to no avail. He drugged the officer in the Sam's Club parking lot till the officer could release himself from the car, and then the suspect fled the area. And our investigation found him just south of the hotel. In a vehicle that was not occupied. He had since come over here to the hotel. Through investigative means, we were able to find out that he was staying on the 4th floor, and that's when we began to make contact with him. He made it painfully clear that he was not going to come out and that we were going to have to come in and kill him. And so from there, we activated a SWAT call out. Our team was on station for about 8 hours until we were relieved by the Sheriff's Office. We also deployed gas in there to no avail. And we did have conversation with him up until about 2 a.m., and then all the conversation stopped. So.
There's body camera video of this incident?
Yes, ma'am, there is.
Will you all be releasing that?
Yes, we will. He didn't give us any statement at all.
What was the concern? Obviously, this is in a hotel. This is a busy area. I mean, I'm sure you evacuated. What was the concern because of the way this area is?
The concern is that this is a hotel with 150, 200 guests. And so what we're trying to do is we're making sure that all of those folks are safe. Certainly our officers and deputies are safe, and that we can, get him into custody as safely as we can.
And that's why the roadway was all closed down in the area, and we realized early on, getting into rush hour, that was going to be an inconvenience for people, but we want to make sure that everybody's safe. The entire hotel was evacuated. Now, one of the things I didn't mention in my remarks, and I want to make sure that I do mention to you, is during our time in the hotel room, when the SWAT team was in there, we were negotiating with him, trying to do certain things, is that he actually took the gun out and he actually racked the slide, so he was loading the gun. So he was armed, and as we were trying to deal with him, was racking the gun, and so he was prepared to use it. So thankfully, everybody came out of this safely. But there's no question, with this criminal history and what this guy's about, and a few days ago up in Pasco, putting this gun to the woman's head, he's in violation of probation, he's got a gun, he dragged a Pinellas Park officer. This is a bad guy. This is a guy that really shouldn't have been on the streets. How can you have these hundreds of charges, these multiple arrests, these 30-plus convictions, and the guy is out here doing this, and then when the cops are here and you got to go to jail, and he's saying he doesn't want to go back to prison, he's taking the gun out and racking the slide. So very fortunate that we were able to resolve this with everybody being safe.
Can you address the danger of something like this? It's a hotel, it's not a house where you know where somebody is. I know you figured out where he was, but does this pose like an extra kind of risk to the SWAT?
Well, there's no doubt that this hotel environment and this structure posed unique challenges for us. It posed operational challenges. Some of the things that we ordinarily are able to do, we were not able to do. So we had to handle it in a different way. So there's no question that it was a unique situation that limited us in many respects about what we could do operationally.
There was a woman that was arrested earlier this morning as well. Was that somebody that was with him?
Yeah, she was somebody that was with him.
Was she in the car at the Sam's Club and then came?
She never made it into the car. When our officers encountered them, they were coming from the store to the car. She never made it into the car.
Okay. How did you know how she got here or why she was arrested here?
Yeah, when she left the Sam's Club, she found her way back up to Lutz, I believe, and then somehow found her way back here. And when she found her way back here, we were able to take her into custody. Well, he's facing at least 3 from us, and then you Hillsborough County charge, the Pasco County charge, whenever that gets dispensed with. So at least 5. Okay, thanks, guys.